class. And people, and the professor was leading a conversation about how much things had already changed in Orangeburg. That if you're African American, you could go to a movie and sit wherever you wanted. You could go to any lunch counter you wanted to go to and sit. And then someone said, "How about the bowling alley?" And the classroom just sort of erupted. So I knew there was an issue. And so on February 6, 1968, I was at home that night and got a call from a member of the faculty I knew about students being beaten outside the bowling alley. So, and he told me there was going to be a meeting on the campus the next morning at 8. And I checked into the motel very nearby about 7:45 and attended the meeting. And the mayor was there, and the city manager was there, and the police chief was there. And there was someone, there was a student from New Jersey who had the microphone, and he was sort of, really almost cross-examining the mayor and the city manager. And later at the trial of patrol, the city manager said, "Cleveland Sellers was up there with that microphone causing all kind of trouble." And I'd been watching, I'd seen Cleve back there, and the people were laughing at the responses of the mayor, and Cleve was joining in the laughter. That was the only role he had in it. And so I stayed, by the time I got back to the motel, when I got there, I think I had filled the whole parking area was empty except for my car. When I came back, every other parking space was taken by a highway patrol car. And so I watched events as they unfolded, and on Thursday afternoon, I remember stopping by Cleveland Sellers' house. And there were several members of something called the Black Awareness Coordinating Committee there. Cleve said everybody's looking for a scapegoat. And that night, in any event, let me just go into what actually started the shooting. I mean, tension kept building throughout the night. At 10:33 p.m. was the time of the actual gunfire. And there was a CBS reporter there who had a lot of experience covering civil rights issues and protest. And of course, he couldn't turn on his lights to capture on film what was going on. But as soon as the gunfire began, he turned on his sound. And he had 8 seconds of gunfire going from at least 9, I think it ended up about 14 people shooting. But and you have to figure out that there's at least a second passed before the gunfire started. I mean, before the guy turned his camera on. So this is what 8 seconds is. 9 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. And JC said, "I hear you writing a book about Orangeburg." And I said, "We are." He said, "You know what actually started the shooting?" I said, "We have a theory." He said, "Tell me your theory and I'll tell you if it's right." But, and I said, "Our theory is that one of the officers fired what he was intending as warning shots, and that started the gunfire." And JC said, "Well, I don't want to talk about it." So we sat down together over just a little small table for two and just had small talk. And finally, JC got dessert, started, and JC looked up, looked me right in the eye, and said, he said, "You're the first person I've ever met who even suggested that's what caused the gunfire. That officer firing warning shots. But that's what happened." So, the other thing I just wanted to say